An Ivy Ridge reunion to report tonight. Former students of the Academy at Ivy Ridge planning a peaceful protest, a reunion of sorts in St. Lawrence County next month. We learn why they plan on doing this. Live tonight, 7 News reporter Lexi Burning. Lexi.
Jeff, the reunion and peaceful protest are scheduled for April 27th. I spoke with those working on the event. After 20 years, they're ready to make their voices heard.
Just one of my files with a lot of these incident reports.
Looking over their files from Ivy Ridge, Stephen Casimo and Nick Chiofalo want to go back, but this time freely.
It's kind of like if we go back there, it also kind of feels like a reclaiming, not just taking our power back, but reclaiming a chunk of our childhood that was stolen from us.
They, along with dozens of their classmates, are hoping to heal. A reunion and peaceful protest is scheduled for April 27th.
Our voices were silenced for 20 years, and now you're all going to hear us, and we are not going to fade away into the night.
To be heard and give a voice to the voiceless.
While we were in the program and we wished we had someone that could speak on our behalf to help us, just know that we're out here trying to help you.
A 3-part docuseries on Netflix called The Program, Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping brought the now adults together. The series highlights the alleged sexual, physical, and mental abuse at the former Academy at Ivy Ridge near Ogdensburg between 2001 and 2009. In the series, former students found their personal files scattered in the abandoned campus after returning starting in 2020. Those same files, though, found 5 years before that. Seen in this YouTube clip, though apparently back then, the files were left alone.
I got records here.
All seemingly left when Ivy Ridge shut down in 2009, following an investigation by then State Attorney General Eliot Spitzer. The investigation found the school was issuing unauthorized high school diplomas. 7 News learned not only was the Academy fined $250,000, but it also had to reimburse 15% of the total tuition paid to the 113 students who, quote, graduated with a diploma since that diploma was worthless. Details for the reunion are still being worked out. Meanwhile, District Attorney Gary Pasqua says there are no updates on the investigation yet, as his office takes dozens of complaints from former students who claim they were abused. Jeff.
Lexi Burning live tonight in studio. Lexi, thank you.